Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Shama Ashram in Cali, Colombia. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam, everybody. Welcome to Cali, Colombia.
Mr. O'Rourke.
I am Mr. Rourke. I mean, they don't make shows like that anymore, Mr. Rourke.
Thankfully.
Oh, come on. And they went on right after The Love Boat, another great fantasy show where you can play out your Mayak dreams. I'm on a boat to fall in love. It's a good show. They were back to back. Do you remember that?
I remember both shows. I don't think I ever really watched them, but
Liar.
even as a child, I could pick up that this was not worth my time.
Liar. No, they were good. Good family entertainment.
It seems like, is our connection strong enough people can leave this thing on? Or maybe it's good that they turn their pictures off on Zoom.
You there?
People seem to be turning it off anyway.
I've been turning off all the videos.
Mary's on
She
it.
pulls the trump card and just starts putting everybody off.
All right.
Anyway, don't take it personally, guys. It's an internet thing. Anyway, that little action, Mara, screwed up our flow. We were really enjoying 70s TV shows.
Sorry to interrupt.
Like the Rookies and SWAT.
Let us
Okay,
move
go
on. Let's
Let's move on.
Do we have a nugget? Do we have announcements? What's going on?
Well, welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam, everybody. The first announcement is it's my birthday tomorrow. Woohoo!
Okay.
Mark your calendars, people.
Do you have like an Amazon? What do they call that? Like when you can
Wish list.
wish list?
I should have done that. Huh? Wish list. What was I thinking?
We have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings today at 1 and 9:30. And then tomorrow for our Patreon members, Ariel Castillo is teaching asana at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh, she's wonderful. Ariel Castillo.
Ariel Castillo. What about the show tomorrow? No show tomorrow or Wednesday? Is that the plan?
Well, I thought we were doing it tomorrow. It's my birthday.
Raghunath's birthday show.
Oh, you're going to try to do it with a potentially bad connection?
Yeah, that's how I roll.
Well, then if that connection's good, we can do the show on Wednesday too.
Yeah, yes, we can.
Yeah,
Look
so
at
we'll
that.
Try to do it.
All right, great.
All right, birthday show tomorrow. Okay.
Meredith's birthday is the 16th. Oh, so is Bunky's. Bunky's birthday is the 16th. The little boy's birthday is the 19th. Tarun. It's all happening here.
Everybody's
Wisdom of the
got one.
Sages. Huh?
Everybody's got one of those birthdays.
Yeah, you want a nugget, sir?
Please.
Check this out. I thought we were doing more Aristotle. I thought we were doing more Confucius, but
I got more Confucius. I just thought that, I found this one just on social media floating out there, but you know who posted it? Was my guru's
brother.
sister-in-law, Shraddhanjali or Stella Herzig.
The
My guru's brother and
brother.
his wife are both really wonderful devotees. And Shraddhanjali posted this.
Well, alrighty. Here it goes. You are holding a cup of coffee when someone comes along and bumps into you, or shaking, or making you spill your coffee everywhere. Why did you spill the coffee? Well, because someone bumped me, of course. Wrong answer.
Wrong answer. Okay.
You spilled the coffee because there was coffee in your cup. Had there been tea in the cup, you would have spilled tea. Whatever is inside the cup will spill out. Therefore, when life comes along, shakes you, bumps you, whatever is inside you will come out. It's easy to fake it until you get rattled. Aw. Did you write this one about me?
No, I didn't write it.
Oh. So we have to ask ourselves, what's in my cup when life gets a little tough? What spills over? Joy comes out, gratefulness comes out, peace comes out, humility comes out, or anger, bitterness, and harsh words. My cup got rattled this week. It was a little...
You got rattled?
Well, I was a little, but I was a little sad about stuff.
Okay. That happens.
Couldn't contain it.
But because...
It's inside me.
But your cup is full of so much good stuff, Raghunath. And that's all that comes out.
You know what I've been finding? I've been finding that the medicine is the holy name. The medicine is Krishna's Leela.
Oh, I got to pull that up. I meant to pull that up. Some of those verses from Mukundamala Stotra. Maybe I can find them.
Okay. Write that one down, Mara. The medicine's the holy name. I was like, she'll be writing this one down soon.
But she's not doing anything over there.
She's not doing anything. She's like looking around. If you're listening out there, if you're one of the others out there that aren't on Zoom, we do this every day live. You can join us for our little Zoom party. It changes. The time changes. Sometimes 5 a.m., sometimes 8 a.m., New York Standard Time. But just email Mara, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com, and you can join this little party. It's sort of fun. We look at each other, wink, write each other secret messages. Okay. Kaustubha.
I thought you were going to speak more about that nugget. You just kind of...
Well, no, I took it too personally.
Why? It had nothing
to share
do with you personally.
Well, because of that whole thing about last walk on Wednesday about Anna, where she was going through all these repeated sufferings, and she just took it. She took all the sufferings that she was dealt, and then her lungs collapsed. She left her body. She had a near-death experience. If you didn't hear last week's walk on Wednesday, the walk on Wednesday that took, usually it's 10 minutes. It went the whole show. Go back and listen to Anna's near-death experience. It was like one tragic thing after another that makes me say to myself, Raghu, if you ever complain about anything again, I'm going to kick you. So after hearing Anna's story, I was like, man, what is the matter with me? What is it? And I started getting a little mental about that. And then some stuff was happening in my life. And I was just like, why can't I be like Anna? Am I chanting the mantra wrong? And that's what. So when I read your thing, when you get shaken, what comes out of the cup, I was like, oh yeah, this is me. This is about me. Mara and him are planting nuggets and talking about me.
These are strategic nuggets, you think?
These are strategic. I'm getting the
personally designed.
Take him down.
No, it was not like that at all. I just saw it. I thought it was useful. I thought, it's a fact. We all get rattled in life, right? But you see that the great souls, people like this, right? You rattle them up and nothing negative comes out, and nothing damaging, nothing that furthers the trouble that comes, right? You get a little rattled, you snap back.
You're pretty steady, my friend. You're pretty steady.
I can get rattled too, but
little rattle. I've seen you get a little rattle, but pretty steady for the most part.
Well, some people I've seen, it's very hard to find them in a. I don't want to say this to make it sound like if you're spiritual, like you don't have like a variety of moods, but there are some people that I know that I've never seen them angry. I've never seen them snap and start, using harsh words or, things like that. And to me, that's impressive. It's like...
I snap.
I snap.
I snap, man.
But
like,
the thing is, even when you snap, because you so consciously fill your cup with so much Divya Gyan, transcendental knowledge, so much, spiritual nectar of different sorts, that, good stuff comes out of you when you get rattled.
Thanks for that.
No, I mean it.
Maybe, but thank you. All right, but
that's
anyway.
our strategy, right? Fill it up with the good stuff.
Fill it up with the good. That's it. Fill up the cup with the good stuff, and the
Mara,
good
you noting that down?
Out.
Yes,
Fill up the cup with the good stuff.
Right dash Kaustubha, 2022. I love when people quote themselves on Instagram. That's like, okay, move over. I'm becoming the next Aristotle and Gandhi here. Me.
Me. Okay. Shall we get started?
Yes. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavate naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana-tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Meditam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances to their lotus feet. Whew. Mara?
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 3, Text 18.
All right, hold on a second. I'm in the wrong canto here.
Are you in the wrong book? All right.
What
It is
class
Bhagavatam that we're doing, right?
It was like that post I did on Instagram. Where are we going? Okay. Hold on a second. Canto 4. My computer's thinking. Want to say something?
Yeah. Why don't we do a little recap while you're searching
Okay.
for where we're at?
What chapter? What verse is it again?
4,
I'm on the
Chapter
chapter
3, Text 18.
Yeah,
Text
and I'll go
18.
back. We read. Again, here's the context, right? I'm not going to go into too much detail about, Daksha walked into this assembly. Everyone's respecting him. Shiva doesn't stand up. Daksha's like, "You're my son-in-law. You don't stand up. What's your problem?" Gets upset, starts to curse Lord Shiva and just denouncing him in so many different ways. Shiva's followers get up. They start to curse and denounce the Brahmanas and Daksha. Counter cursing going on back and forth. Brigu gets up. He's letting the Shiva followers have it. Turns into a big mess. That was the last chapter. This chapter opens up future, right? I don't know exactly how long in the future it was, but we're somewhere in the future. And Shiva's with his wife Sati. Sati is the daughter of Daksha. And she's noticing that everybody seems to be going to this big event at my father's house. Everybody's all dressed up. It's going to be auspicious. It's going to be beautiful.
Sisters are going to be there, relatives or
she's
friends.
got like 16 sisters. She wants to go see them all, right? Her mother. It's a happening event, right? It's a good, beautiful event. And there's also a social element to it that she's attracted to. And so she wants to go. But he's like, she's laying out like the reasons why she should go. And Shiva's going to explain to her why it's really not a good idea that you go. Your father hates my guts, right? and when he sees you, that's basically what he's saying. And when he sees you, he's just it's not whatever is going to happen is not going to be good, right? And so that's now. It's interesting. I got this study guide, right, which kind of fills in, like, how sometimes these the acharyas, the commentators on these texts like Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or so many books, sometimes they put in little links in between the verses so you can see like this verse is, you don't necessarily understand why this verse follows that one, but they said because someone might have asked this question or made this statement in between, right? So we read text 17. That's where we ended on Friday. And that was a really important verse. I'll read that. Well, let me say the link to that is that Sati might reply to Shiva, it's really not a problem that I go because my father, he's not going to find faults with you because he has wisdom, right? He's a wise man,
Very wise.
And so then text 17 was, well, he may be wise, but you lose all of your wisdom you lose all your goods. What does it say? Due to pride.
You lose
when
your
you're
intelligence and
proud,
wisdom.
yeah, because when you're proud, you lose all your wisdom. So text 17 was, although the 6 qualities, education, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth, and heritage, are for the highly elevated, one who is proud of possessing them becomes blind. So your father may have a lot of good qualities, but he's proud, and therefore he'll become blind and he'll become upset. And says, and thus he loses his good sense and cannot appreciate the glories of great personalities. Okay, so now we're going to begin with 18, but there's another link here. Sati might reply, but even low-minded people have affection for their children, right? Isn't that true?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the response to that.
Text 18. One should not go to anyone's house, even on the consideration of his being a relative or friend, when the man is disturbed in his mind and looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows and angry eyes.
Okay, so yeah, you've certainly, certainly everyone has affection for their children, but when he's in this disturbed state of mind, it's still not good to go over there.
You don't go to their house.
Yeah, you don't just avoid
wisdom from the Bhagavatam, who and who not to visit.
Well, there's a lot of lessons in this story, and one of them is playing out right now in this chapter. And, of course, the conclusion we're not going to see till later, but there's this, we know it's going to get dark, and what's happening right now is Sati has an attachment, right? She wants to go there, and that her wanting to go there is going to cause her to ignore all this good advice that Shiva's like, he's seeing, because he has no attachment here, he's seeing very clearly, right? I can see what's going to happen. Isn't it obvious?
Yeah.
Sati, she wants to go there so much she doesn't want to hear that. And so she's coming up with counter arguments, and he's got an answer for everyone, but she's not hearing the message. And I mean, how often do we do that kind of thing, right?
By the way, everyone who's watching this on Zoom or YouTube, occasionally I'm throwing my hands up frantically and moving around. There's like 9 flies, and they're attacking me like I'm a piece of stool. And I'm going to make a commitment right now to be incredibly tolerant. If they're going to crawl all over me, even my face, I'm not going to move. I'm just going to tolerate. Okay. I'm putting that out there. You're all my accountability. See how steady I can be for the rest of the show. Text 19.
Now there's a link. She says, Sati at this point might say, but I will be tolerant if my father speaks some unkind words. Right? Okay, maybe what you're saying is true. Maybe he's disturbed in mind, and maybe he's lost his wisdom, and maybe even his affection for me won't be enough to prevent him from saying some things that I really don't want to hear.
Yeah.
But I'll be tolerant if he speaks some unkind words. I'm prepared for that. Now Shiva's going to say you're really not prepared for it.
You think you're prepared? Okay, we'll see. We're about to see how tolerant she is. Lord Shiva continued, if one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, one is not as aggrieved as when cut by the unkind words of a relative. For such grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. Right. What do you think, Kaustubha? If you're getting your feelings hurt, is that worse than getting hit by an arrow?
It can be. It can be.
It could last like a lifetime.
Anguish. Yeah, the anguish.
You might heal from an arrow, and then it's over. But sometimes people get angry or resentful. Mm-hmm. They recall things. They keep a record of others' wrongs. Sometimes they'll recall something for 30 years ago. Yeah, my father said this. My mother said this. Something like that.
And here it's saying particularly, it's hurtful when that person is a relative, when that person is your own father. I mean, people, this is what psychiatrists, it's their bread and butter. Someone's parents said something to them, when they were young, and they're suffering from it decades later.
Yeah.
So Shiva's like, you might think you can just tolerate what he's going to say, but because he's your father, it's going to hurt so much more, and so this isn't going to be good. So then she might respond, kind of ignoring that. Well, I'll go alone. You don't have to come. Okay. Text
20. My dear white complexion wife. What?
She has white skin. This isn't even like Caucasian. This is like white. Okay.
Okay. Wait.
Oh, you know what I was thinking when we're reading this too? That, just because of the social, era that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Someone could read this and say, look at this total mansplaining going on. It's like, but this chapter is like another one of these kind of like really clear illustration. This is one of these chapters where, like Bhagavatam chapters, where like the women were right all along and the men just screw everything up.
Well, except in this case, Sati was wrong.
She was wrong, but you see, like for instance, when Sati goes home, when she goes to this party, when she goes to this event, Daksha is going to be totally cold to her, but her mother is going to be like, come on, this is our daughter. Wake up, guy. What's your problem? Why are you so attached? This is our daughter. We love her.
Okay, let's not spoil this one. All right, let's go. You're right. Okay, I believe you. So Sati's good. Sati good. My dear white complexioned wife, what? It is clear that the many daughters of Daksha, you are the pet, right?
Yes.
Yet you will be honored at his house because of your being my wife. Rather, you will be sorry that you are.
You will not be honored.
You will not be honored. I was wondering, you will not be honored because you're my wife. Rather, you'll be sorry that you are connected with me.
So she's saying, I could go without you. You can stay back, so that'll mitigate the problem. He's saying, no. When he sees you, he's going to criticize me. It's like you don't go, in a sense, you don't go without me. When he sees you, he's thinking of me.
Yeah.
So there's another link, Rogan. Don't just rush off down the road, okay? Yeah. Have you caught into theme today? I got links for these.
You got links for all these verses. I got it. Okay. Got me.
So then she might reply that the fact that you are speaking like this seems to indicate that you bear some hostility towards my father. All right, she's just coming out with a little bit of,
okay.
She wasn't there when it all happened.
She wants to just go to that party. She'll say anything to get to that party.
Yeah, and she wasn't there when Daksha went off on Shiva, so she may, even within, it's like sometimes people don't understand what you went through, so she may have different ideas. Maybe it's partly your fault. Maybe you've got a problem with my father. Maybe it's not all on my father's side. Maybe you have a problem with him.
Mara wrote me and said, your fly vow lasted 3 minutes.
All right.
2 minutes, the live people say. All right.
There's a fly in your head right now. I see.
Yeah. All right.
Text 21.
21. One who is conducted by false ego and thus always distressed, both mentally and sensually, cannot tolerate the opulence of self-realized persons. Being able to rise to the standard of self-realization, he envies such person
being
as
unable.
He's unable to.
Being unable to rise.
Being unable to rise to the standard of self-realization, he envies such persons as much as demons envy the personality of Godhead.
Now, this is a heavy statement and an important lesson, right? That false ego leads to distress, and ultimately distress leads to envy. Right? That's what we saw. Let's read this commentary. What's going to happen in these next two verses is we might all ask the question, and actually, well, let's read the commentary. But the question that Sati's about to ask in our links has to do with, why didn't Shiva get up anyway? Right? Like, he could have gotten up and respected Daksha, but he didn't. And there seems to be something wrong with that. But that'll play out in the next verse and commentary. But this commentary is getting to something that these two verses speak about. And that is, how people say namaste. Right?
Yeah.
And when we say namaste, sometimes they translate. How do they translate that sometimes?
The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, Kaustubha.
Namaste.
I like Harry Bowl. I like that one better. Harry Bowl. Hey, Harry Bowl.
Well, namaste is good. Namaste. Unto you, namaha, right?
Namaha.
I not ma. Do you know how they break that down sometimes?
No.
Namaste. So na is like negates, is like you're the linguist here, it's a prefix that somehow minimizes something. Na. And Ma refers to the self. So namaste, in a sense, it's like it's a way of humbling oneself. Unto you, I, in a sense, bow down. I am lesser than, or so. It's a statement kind of like.
There's some pretty good Krishna conscious salutations, right? Harry Bowl is a great one. I think even people who aren't devotees like Harry Bowl. Hey, Harry Bowl.
The problem is when you call the temple and you have no idea like who you're calling. Like someone calls, I need to call this place and get some information, and then they pick up the phone. Harbo, excuse me.
Harry Bowl. Sometimes I say Radhe Bowl. Radhe Bowl. Because you know why? Hari Bhajan used to say that to me. Radhe Bowl. Radhe Bowl.
All right.
And
very rustic of you, Raghunath.
Thank you.
It shows you. It kind of demonstrates
Yes, you say Hari Bowl. I say Radhe Bowl.
Yeah, right. It's a cheap way of appearing more
spiritually evolved than the other. Yeah.
Okay, so in any case, this namaste has that idea that I'm bowing. Well, the way that is explained, and it's going to be explained here, is that namaste means that I see God within you, right? The supersoul, the Paramatma is within you. And it plays into that whole idea that the body is the temple of God. Right? Let's read and discuss. The purport.
The purport. The real reason for the enmity between Lord Shiva and Daksha is explained here. Daksha was envious of Lord Shiva because of Shiva's high position as an incarnation of the quality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and because Shiva was directly in contact with the Supersoul and was therefore honored and given a better sitting place than he.
So incarnation of the quality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word for that? Oh, I got
Shakti-besh. No.
The quality.
Of the quality.
What's the word for quality in Sanskrit?
Guna. Guna avatar.
Boom.
Guna.
There you go. He's a guna avatar. Right?
He's a guna
like
avatar.
A very high level position.
I got it right. Guna avatar. Okay.
Eventually. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done. And
I guess that wouldn't work on Jeopardy.
I got it right, didn't I? So
with a hint. Okay.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why Daksha was envious, because he's my son-in-law, but he's got this higher position, he's got these turbo scenarios.
Right. Yeah, it's envious. There were many other reasons also. Daksha, being materially proud, puffed up, could not tolerate the high position of Lord Shiva. So his anger at Lord Shiva's not standing up in his presence was the only final manifestation of his envy.
Was only the final manifestation of his envy. In other words, there were many manifestations of his envy. That was just the last. It finally came out.
It finally came out. He's been building up. You know, usually if it explodes, you've been running turbo scenarios in your mind for a while. Yeah. Just like thinking, oh, who does he think he is? If this ever happened, I'd do this. Or if this happens, I'd do that. And one day I'll show him, and then he'll understand how powerful I am.
And then you walk in and he doesn't stand up, and then it just all comes out.
Now, the interesting thing is when we live with envy, when we live, what was the word you used before? When we live with envy, when we live with this type of, enmity towards someone else, we are living on a regular basis in revenge, spiteful turbo scenarios within the mind on a regular basis because we carry it around, especially when that person comes into the room sometimes. Who do they think they are? Here they come. And it's just like, it makes the entire being toxic. Yeah. So that's why a big part of our becoming peaceful, not even becoming spiritual, just becoming peaceful in this world, you got to get rid of resentment. You got to get rid of hate. You got to get rid of revenge. You got to uproot these things. The real key here is envy and resentment.
You know what, Raghu? I think this relates to our nugget this morning, because Daksha had a cup full of envy and resentment, which is Prabhupada is pointing out right now.
We're cup full of envy from Toronto.
How about envy and resentment? Cup full of envy.
Cup full of envy. That's something a Toronto band might do. It's like, it didn't work, but.
What kind of music do they play? What's their genre?
Cup full of envy. That's sort of like, what do you call coffee shop? Coffee shop.
Okay.
Yeah, cup full of envy.
So he had a cup full of envy, and the fact that Shiva didn't stand up rattled his cup, and he just spilled it out all over the place. If he would have had nothing.
That's a great expression. Don't rattle my cup.
Yeah, don't rattle. We're
Rattle my
cup rattler.
Cup rattler.
So imagine if all along, rather than having these turbo scenarios of Shiva, Shiva is an incredibly great soul, right?
Yeah.
If he would have been meditating, try to get to know him, try to look past the externals. Okay, you're wearing a garland of human skulls. Maybe you can explain to me why. I'm not gonna judge you on it, right? And got to know him, really know him. He would have seen his incredible qualities. He would have a cup full of appreciation. He would have had a cup full of love. We're a cup full of love.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's hard. That's hard work, is to
See the good.
we say this a lot. See the good. First of all, it's hard work to see the good in people that you love, because you're sort of like always trying to like get it. The tendency is in human nature is you try to get an upper hand on those within your universe. Like, okay, here's what you can do, and here's what you're doing wrong here, and you're nagging your spouse, and you're trying to control them a little bit. So it's hard to like just put that on pause and just train yourself to put your expectations aside and get into appreciation of the people that you love. That is 1.0 spiritual life. The PhD, the master's, is, can I appreciate people who are driving me nuts? Can I appreciate people that I'm envious for, that I resent? Can I see some good in them? It's such difficult work. If you can do that, you've become a card-carrying transcendentalist. Write that down, Mara.
That's great, Raghu. Thank you for sharing that. And what you're saying relates to kind of like, I had some realizations yesterday. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I'll put it like this. Sometimes you're in that perfect situation that you've been hankering to be in for some time, right? Like, in other words, you're on vacation. You're in that the beautiful sunset is there. That whatever it is that you just think, oh, if I could just have, and then finally you're there, and then something or someone comes along, and in some way prevents your ability to entirely enjoy that moment, right?
You got an example, don't you?
I have several.
I come over soaking wet. Is that it? Is that what we're talking about right now?
It wasn't that. And I was going through it, and I just had to say to myself, who I thought, and this is why it's so important that we have these great souls that we're close to in life, whose examples stand there. Because I said to myself, I was in a position where everything was just right, but somebody wanted to talk with me at length. Okay.
Yeah.
And I realized that the polite thing to do and the proper thing to do, and it was a very nice person, and it had nothing but nice things, but it wasn't where I was at that moment, And but I realized, look at someone like Raghunath Swami. How many times is he in this exact same position where he would just much rather be somewhere else or be free of any kind of responsibility, and he takes the time and really shares and takes the time and gives time to people, and even though I wanted that perfect little external situation, I let go of that really material desire to enjoy, and kind of stepped up and said, let me be present for this person right now. It's not always an easy thing to do, but my point is that we picture in our mind and we anticipate moments of enjoyment. Whereas like advanced souls, they picture opportunities for service. That's really what they're after. And so when their enjoyment scenarios are interrupted, they're really not that disturbed, because really what they're living for is a service, and it's a happier life. But Mara, did we lose Raghu? What happened?
Yeah, that's beautiful, Kaustubha, but I think we just lost Raghu on it.
That's beautiful, but we lost. Did it look like the electricity went out where he's at or something like that? It looked like the lights went out at first.
Dark.
So I don't know if we're going to be here. Let me continue with this commentary, and hopefully Raghunath will be rejoining us soon. So we heard that, I'll read that last sentence that we read, that there were many other reasons also. Daksha, being materially puffed up, could not tolerate the high position of Lord Shiva, so his anger at Lord Shiva not standing up in his presence, it was only the final manifestation of his envy. Right? It had all built up, and then it came out. Lord Shiva is always in meditation. This is the reason, Mara, why he didn't stand up. He was in meditation. Lord Shiva is always in meditation and always perceives the Supersoul, the Paramatma, as expressed here by the words Purusha Buddhi Shakshinam. The word Shakshi means like a witness. And so Purusha Buddhi Shakshinam means he's witnessing the Purusha, the Adi Purusha, the original Purusha. He's witnessing Lord Vishnu always. So the commentary continues. The position of one whose intelligence is always absorbed in meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very great and cannot be imitated by anyone, especially by an ordinary person. When Daksha entered the arena, hey, Raghu's back. Let's unmute that guy. Let's go.
We had a blackout over here.
I saw that. It looks
This
like you
would
said
never
that
happen to
blackout.
Kaustubha, right? This was never happening to Kaustubha.
It does happen to me all the time. Mara knows, right? Like
We had
whenever-
we had
Only when
another
Raghu's not on the show.
only when you're
we had
not here, then
another
I
this would-
take it on.
we had another this would never happen to Kaustubha yesterday. What was it?
You got a flat tire when you're riding your bike?
Oh, I got a flat tire on my bike. First, I got lost on the bicycle, then I got a flat tire, and I'm walking the bicycle back, going, "This would never happen to Kaustubha."
Any case, so Raghu, we've been talking about, what were we talking about, Mara? Oh yeah,
Shiva was in meditation.
yeah. Well, I was finishing up my thing. I was saying that we have these ideal moments of enjoyment that we have in our mind, and you know what? The world is arranged in such a way where those you're picturing your moment of enjoyment, and Krishna arranges your karma arranges that it gets interrupted, it gets disturbed in some way. You know? I travel all the way to the Bahamas. I sit down on the beach, and then something happens. And then the frustration that sets in, right? But I was mentioning that the Vaishnavas, the devotees, the advanced devotees, they're not picturing and relishing and anticipating and hoping for these little enjoyment moments. They're kind of over that. They're picturing opportunities for service, right? And so when the enjoyment moment gets interrupted by opportunity they serve, and they're happy that way. I just thought
I missed it. I missed
you
that.
missed
nugget.
that. So I shared that.
Thank you.
Is that okay with you? Does that work for you?
What? The
That
internet
idea.
connection or the idea? The idea
No, the
works
idea.
good.
Okay. All right. So we're continuing with this commentary.
Okay.
Why don't you just pick up where it says Lord Shiva is? This was the answer why Lord Shiva didn't stand up. He was in meditation. Right. So why
right.
don't you pick up where it says Lord Shiva is always in meditation?
Lord Shiva is not.
Is always in meditation.
Lord Shiva is always in meditation and always perceives the Supersoul, as expressed here by the words Purusha, Buddhi, Shakshinam. The position of one's intelligence is always absorbed in meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The position of one whose intelligence is always absorbed in meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very great and cannot be imitated by anyone, especially an ordinary person. Yeah. When Daksha entered the arena of Yajna, Lord
Sacred
Shiva,
ceremony.
right, was in meditation and might not have seen Daksha enter. But Daksha took the opportunity to curse him because Daksha had maintained an envious attitude towards Shiva for a long time. You have these people who could become envious of you. There is nothing you can do to appease them because they want to hate you. They want to hate you. And so it's one of those things, as devotees, we practice not taking offense. If people got issues with us, we don't take offense. And if we feel like we've offended someone, we're quick to apologize. Now, if a person doesn't accept your apology, you go back and you sincerely apologize again. You do it 3 times, and after that, you realize they don't want to accept your apology. They want to hate, and that becomes their problem. I like to apologize at least 3 times if I feel like I've been at it, and I try to not just apologize, but try to correct my behavior as well. But after the 3rd time, if you haven't really imbibed this concept of forgiveness is essential to move forward in your spiritual life and your material peace, if you haven't imbibed that, then they want to ruminate on hate, envy, and resentment. And truthfully, and then you don't say, see you dumb. You say, then you feel compassionate because this person is suffering. People who are ruminating on hate on a regular basis, they're suffering in this world. Your enemy is actually suffering. Don't hate them.
We're ruminating on hate from Springfield, Massachusetts.
Ooh, got me. Ruminate on hate. It's almost like a Dr. Seuss book.
Okay.
Don't ruminate on hate.
Now this next sentence is getting right to the point that I wanted to talk about here too, and it's an important point. Those who are actually self-realized
I'll just read it. But those who are actually self-realized see every individual body as a temple of the personality of Godhead, because the supreme personality of Godhead in his Paramatma feature is residing in everyone's body.
Boom. Right. So this is an incredibly profound idea that is sometimes cheapened, I think, sometimes cheapened to the Instagram photo of one in their bikini where they say, my body is a temple of God or something like that.
What's wrong with me in my thong?
I'm not criticizing anyone, but my point is that.
But he is.
But when we're talking about the body being a temple of God, being a temple, who's the temple to? Who's the deity inside the temple? Right? There's a temple.
Not the ego.
Yeah, it's not your ego, exactly, right? It's right. Not like, the whole point you go to the temple is not to like marvel at the shape of the temple. Is to go in the temple and see the deity that's within the temple.
Right? I like that.
Yeah. So this is a very profound idea. Actually, that's cultural appropriation for real, right? In other words, you take that body as a temple idea and you kind of cheapen it. The body is the temple idea. It means that what culture are you appropriating?
This any Vedic culture with a temple?
Oh. No, the Vedic culture. That's where the idea comes from.
Okay,
right. The yoga culture, if you want to say it that way. Right. If I appropriate it, cheapen the idea of the body as a temple, then I'm misappropriating it. Right. But what does it really mean? Let's try to honor it. Right. Let's try to honor that idea.
I like clean the temple. Clean the temple. How about that? Clean the temple. Cleanse the temple.
What about it, cleansing the temple?
Just go. I'm sorry, man.
Okay. So my point is that wise people, that everybody that they meet, when they see that person, we tend to, when we see a person's body, we immediately go into judgment mode, right? It's attractive, it's unattractive, it's threatening, it's non-threatening, it's
too skinny, whatever. Too fat, who's he think he is with those abs?
Yeah, cool, not cool, whatever it might be. Is that how you feel? What are those abs?
Who does he think he is with these abs?
But the wise person is not so concerned with that. The wise person, when they see that body, just it's a great level of advancement just to begin to think of like, the body's not the person is the soul within the body. What to speak of the Paramatma, Lord Vishnu, is right here in this body that I'm interacting with right now. If one can think that way, right? In the 13th chapter of the Gita, Krishna mentions that one that sees the soul and the supersoul in every living being, their mind never becomes degraded. Right?
Yeah,
because that's namaste.
It does. That's namaste. That's the real namaste.
Yeah.
Right?
The real namaste. Right there. Boom. Mara. You on that one? The real namaste?
The real namaste. Hi, we're the real namaste from Port Jarvis.
Okay. Port Jarvis.
You like that one? That's in Long Island.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the real namaste, right? And if you can think that way and really see that way, we can call that spiritual vision, right? That I'm talking to you in full consciousness that I'm in the presence of God, at every moment, and even when I'm interacting with the dog, even when I'm interacting with the plant, I'm feeling the presence of God. Not only you, but the presence of God within your body. That's namaste. That's where Shiva's at. When Daksha walked in, and this is the point that's going to be made, he's already meditating on Vishnu. He's, in that sense, in a deeper way, he's already done what he's supposed to do. Because when you walk in the door, Daksha, it's not you that they're honoring. The wise ones are honoring Lord Vishnu within you.
That is nice. That was nice.
All right. Why don't we just continue the... or want to move on to the next step? There's another link. Want another link?
Yeah, give us the link to the next one. You know what I like about in India? They say, tell me.
You like that?
Like if they answer the phone, they'll just say, tell me.
Okay.
So tell me the link. Tell me.
So here's the link. Sati at this point may have said, I believe that you do not hate my father. Because she said, maybe you got some hostility towards my father. He's like, I'm always meditating on Lord Vishnu, right? She says, I believe that you do not hate my father. However, he is your father-in-law. So maybe you should have risen up from your seat to respect him, right? I'm not saying that you're bearing anything horrible in your heart, but would it have been so hard to get up and and respect him at that point, and it could have avoided this whole thing.
Yeah, good
So
point.
here's his response, text 22.
My dear young wife, certainly friends and relatives offer mutual greetings by standing up, welcoming one another, and offering obeisances. But those who are elevated to the transcendental platform, being intelligent, offer such respects to the Supersoul who is sitting within the body, not to the person who identifies with the body.
Okay, so that's what we were just talking
That's
about.
what you were just saying. That's a great point.
Mhm.
And we take that too, as a lot of people are yoga teachers out there. When people glorify you or appreciate you after class, oh, that was such a great class. You have you're so wise, you're so intelligent, or if we're at like this retreat and people say, Raghunath, that was a wonderful class. They're not actually, in my mind, I should be thinking they're not actually appreciating me per se. They're appreciating Krishna who's speaking through me, because I've been imbibing Krishna's, and that indemnifies me from the ego that goes with getting accolades from people. In a temple, sometimes they put the speaker on a raised seat, the Vyas Asan, the asana of Vyas. So when you're on that seat, you're representing Vyas. And if you feel, oh, I don't deserve to be there. Yeah, you don't deserve to be there, but we're doing it to represent Vyas. So you're doing it in service of Vyas. Don't get all in your head. I don't deserve this. You're right. You don't deserve it. That's why you stay within the parameters of the things Vyas would say. And as yoga teachers too, we're supposed to be presenting Vyas. One of our Zoomers got some heat for putting a picture of Krishna in her yoga studio.
Huh.
And you know what? She said, I don't know, this is fine. Krishna's cool. And she stood up for Krishna. You know why? She's representing Vyas. Krishna is Yogeshwar. You can't teach yoga and kick Krishna out of the yoga system. He spoke the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is the original source of the word. The first time you're going to hear yoga is like in the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. You're trying to have some like yoga party and kick Krishna out? Come on.
Bhakti Louis giving you a thumbs up there, Raghu. He was just like,
Thank you.
with you there. You know what, Raghunath, and another thing. I mean, that's a great point. In other words, you walk into a yoga studio. Who's Yogeshwar? Who's the person that spoke the yoga literature? Who gave the teachings on yoga? It's Krishna. Open up your Bhagavad Gita. Come on.
Yeah,
right?
Come on, people. You want to be a yoga teacher? You want to get down and get angry? We can have a picture of Buddha. We can have a picture of Ganesh. We got a little statue of Ganesh. But you throw Krishna in there, it's like, whoa.
It's called envy, Raghu.
It's envy. They got to start checking in with all the stuff that the Gita teaches. Not just that, I'm going to do contortionism. And you think you're a yoga teacher? Come on, people.
Now, Raghu, I got to tell you something.
What?
Your what you just shared with us previously. It was another example of you thinking like Srila Prabhupada, where you're describing how like the speaker on the Vyasa-san who's representing Krishna.
Yeah.
Right, that is actually Krishna that's being honored, and they shouldn't be thinking it's me.
Yeah.
Purport, read it, hit it.
You're kidding. Is that in the purport?
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Not exactly
Prabhupada
that,
again.
but like almost exactly like that. In essence, that.
If you're new to the show, whenever I say something and then it ends in the purport, I say, I'm thinking like Prabhupada again.
Okay, so hit it.
Okay, hit it.
It
may be argued that since Daksha is the father-in-law of Lord Shiva, it is certainly the duty of Lord Shiva to offer him respect. In answer to that argument, it explains here that when a learned person stands up or offers obeisances in welcome, he offers respect to the Supersoul who is sitting within everyone's heart.
Now get this right here.
Amongst the Vaishnavas, Vaishnava means the worshippers of Vishnu.
The Bhakti-yogis.
The Bhakti-yogis. Therefore, it is seen that even when a disciple offers obeisances to his spiritual master, the spiritual master immediately returns the obeisances because they are mutually offered, not to the body, but to the Supersoul.
Okay.
This is gold stuff right here. Yeah. This is stuff gold is. Okay. Therefore, the spiritual master also offers respect to the Supersoul situated in the body of the disciple. Can I just jump in here? Or should I?
As you like, Raghu. You just
Prabhu,
go wherever I'm your
thinking,
heart takes you.
People really got this.
Yeah.
a big part of the Eastern culture would be saved, because sometimes gurus have issues.
So-called
They fall.
gurus?
They can't maintain. They keep a high level, a high standard, and then they fall from that position for some reason or another. They can't maintain it, and then what happens is the student loses faith in God, which is a horrible thing.
Gotcha.
And which is horrible for the guru. It's hard for the student. Our faith, when we're bowing down to the guru, is we see God coming through this person. And therefore, if the guru falls, we shouldn't despise the guru. We should feel sad for the guru, because now that guru is suffering. If suppose the guru does something nefarious, when you do something nefarious, you're in pain. And now you might be on the other side of that. I've done so much for you. How dare you do this? You were never sincere the whole time. Bad attitude. Sure, the guru is getting tested, but you're getting tested as the student too. You've got to see the guru. It's not like they were never sincere, had no sincerity. They just couldn't maintain it. And therefore, any time a guru falls, something goes wrong, all we should do is pray for that person to resurrect their spiritual life. And we see that in people. I remember me and Kaustubha being in India as new devotees, and we were bathing in the Ganga, and Kaustubha said, we were really new devotees. And Kaustubha said, we should pray for everybody in the hardcore scene that got us into bhakti.
Did I say that? Is that what you put in your book?
That's in my book.
Okay.
He said it. I remember that. And we had to pray. And some of the people couldn't even follow the principles of bhakti yoga per se, but they did something. They planted some seed in our heart.
And we somehow managed to get here. Like we're sitting here on the bank of the Ganga.
Here. Now, while we're here bathing the Ganga, we shouldn't think, oh, those fools, who do they think they are? They can't even, they're not as sincere as us. No, God tagged them for us. And therefore, we are eternally in debt to them, but not them as a giver of God. And therefore, we always appreciate them. That's our mood.
This is so important, and this is something that Srila Prabhupada stressed. And it's interesting because like everybody practically in the world has heard the word Hare Krishna and the Hare Krishna movement, but like it's very rare to know Srila Prabhupada's name, right?
Yeah.
And whereas if you look at it, like a lot of the other quote unquote gurus that came to the West, they only know the name of the guru, right? It's like because they promoted themselves.
Sure.
Now here Srila Prabhupada.
Interesting point, sir.
Yeah, and so what Srila Prabhupada is sharing here, and he'll share thoroughly, is trying to understand what is a guru. The guru isn't like the big central personality. The guru, the way the Prabhupada explained it, sometimes he uses the term postal peon, right? Postal peon. He's like a postal peon, meaning like the mailman may bring you the most valuable message, right? And deliver it to you. But the mailman doesn't think, therefore, I'm a big shot. The mailman's just like
delivering mail. Yeah. Check me out.
It's the message that's valuable. And I'm just handing it from one person to the next. My role is to make sure that it gets to you undamaged, right? That it gets to you as is. And that's what the guru is, right? The guru is like, there's a message. It was handed from my guru to me. It's my responsibility to handle it now, to hand it off to you unchanged, in its true essence. And naturally the disciple is going to say, thank you, mailman, right? Like, I honor you. Yeah, but the mailman's thinking, it's just doing my job here.
I say that on a regular basis.
Thank you, Mr. Mailman.
Thank you, UPS. This is so gold, Kaustubha, and it protects us as teachers, and we have a lot of very empowered yoga teachers out there listening to the show. It protects us from not becoming like Daksha, where you're getting a lot of accolades and people really appreciate you, and it could just get real into your ego at that point, and it spoils all your good qualities. Mm-hmm. So immediately when people start to appreciate us, we think, yes, because I have good teachers, and I have good teachers. That's why. And we immediately dodge the accolades, pass them on to our teachers, indemnifying me, right? Yeah. I always say like this: if you like what I say, it's not mine. I appreciate you saying that, but it's not mine. If you don't like what I say, that's okay too. It's not mine. This is all Krishna speaking.
It's coming from Tony Robbins.
It's hate him.
No, that's a
Okay.
great point, Raghunath. You know, and I'll just share one last thing. I've shared it on the show before, but I always remember this Raghunath Swami saying, you know, when the disciples are honoring the guru and they're throwing on the praise and they're doing it in a formal way and they're showering, you know, they want to shower gifts, they want to shower money, they want to shower praise. The guru's role is I immediately pass that on. The guru is thinking, this is not from me. I am just the representative here. And so, like, let's say praise. Someone's saying, oh, you're so wonderful and you're this and you're that. And the guru's thinking, all of this is for my guru, right? Who's handing it up to the next guru? Who's handing it up to, they don't try to enjoy it. They don't try to taste it and drink it because it's poison, right? In a sense, that praise is poison for their own spiritual life. They hand it up, they hand it up. And
That's beautiful.
And therefore, like, people that like you and I who have been trained in seeing things this way, when we see the latest guru figure rise in the world of yoga or Hinduism, whatever it is, right?
Right.
And we see they're taking in all the accolades, but we don't see, I'll be frank, like, there are people that aren't in my lineage, you know, that even have some philosophical discrepancies with the lineage that we practice in, but I say, but they're actually for real. Right, like,
Right. Or you see their humility.
You see their humility. You see their that they're not just making it up. That they're actually, you know, playing the role as it is in tradition.
Sure.
When you see someone that hasn't embraced that, that's oblivious to that doesn't even refer to that just poses themselves as the great new spiritual leader, you know the crash is going to come because they're ingesting that poison, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. And that's why
you
you just
havoc on their life.
Yeah.
Fame ruins people's lives.
And you just go down the checklist of all the quote unquote charismatic gurus out there, one after another. And like you said, it destroys people's faith. Because they just say, well, just look, they all crash. And then they say, well, maybe our day and age isn't meant for gurus. Or
I know. They make up these newer things. Yeah, maybe I'm the guru. Maybe I should jump on the altar and worship me for once.
Okay.
No, that's not the answer either, people.
That's not the answer either.
You know what? We only have 2 verses left, but it's 7, and I have to do our final.
No, let's move on. We can hit those verses tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, move on meaning end or move on meaning
I was
read?
saying move on. We can wrap up the show and move on to Mara.
Mara. Let's move on to Mara.
Let's move on to me. I got some takeaways today.
Okay. Well, you were noting diligently. We know that you were noting
after I caught her not noting anything when I said something quite mountain moving. Okay.
What's inside you will spill out when you're rattled.
Yeah.
The medicine is the holy name, Raghunath.
Raghunath, circa 2022.
Fill up the cup with the good stuff.
Fill up. That was me right there. That was Kaustubha.
Kali Columbia, 2022.
False ego leads to distress, leads to envy.
I think that was Lord Shiva. He gets credit for that one.
Lord Shiva. Say that again.
Can I appreciate people that are driving me crazy?
I think that was like the beginning of The Odd Couple. Right? Can 2 divorced men share an apartment without driving each other crazy?
Picture
All
opportunities.
my references come from 70s TV shows.
Picture opportunities for service, not enjoyment.
Right.
Are me and Kaustubha the odd couple?
I think we are. It's a good thing we don't share an apartment. When we share an apartment, we are the odd couple.
Oh, we could never share an apartment, man. You would kill. I would bring out the worst in you.
People who ruminate on hate on a regular basis are suffering.
Ruminate on hate.
Yeah.
The real namaste sees the presence of God in everyone.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Always
For
appreciate
the real namaste. Did we say that again? Okay, I'm sorry. What was the last one, Mary? I stepped on you.
Always appreciate those who gave us God.
Boom.
Boom. What a way. That's a good. And thanks everybody for joining us later on Zoom. Some people snuck in the back door. Taylor and Sam. Oh,
Oh, Paramananda Prabhu, my brother from another Mataji. Miss you here. Sega. That's the kind of Sega this morning. Hey, Sega. Who else is here? I didn't say hi to. Oh, Upstate 8 is here. I call her Lemonade. That's a good name for her. Lemonade.
Hey, lemonade.
And I made a big mistake. Port Jarvis is in New Jersey. I've been corrected.
Jarvis. Okay.
Port Jarvis.
You know why you did that? Because Jarvis lives out in Long Island, right?
Oh, that's it. Our brother Jarvis, one of our others out there. In Tanya. Okay. Anyway, I want to thank everybody who's joining the show. Watch us in Colombia. Tomorrow's my birthday. Don't forget that. Say some prayers for me.
What are we supposed to, what is the proper way for us to honor
Support
you
the
on
birthday?
this day?
Say some prayers that no matter what gets thrown at me this year, I take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. That's the
And
prayer.
the Amazon wish list, where will we find that?
You know what? Go into the Amazon of your heart.
Okay.
Okay? Say a prayer that let poor Raghunath connect to Krishna, Radha and Krishna's lotus feet.
Nice.
Okay?
I like that.
And-
Roger. Nice.
You like that?
Well played.
And,
well played.
I'm taking Rocco and a few other stragglers, and we're going to the jungle for a couple days because
Rumble
we're
in the
between.
jungle?
Yeah, because we're going. Yeah, we're gonna drive 3 hours, and then get on a boat, and then there's a house in the jungle.